Love and light, guys. So, most people have heard about ascension, but not everyone that's heard about ascension have heard about the 7 initiations. Okay, because it's not always broken down and explained that way in today's culture. If one was getting trained in an actual mystery school, most likely this would be understood, though. But it is very helpful to understand these levels and processes, at least as a guide or template for what's happening to us and where we're going. So, first of all, there are 7 levels of initiation within the human school. One cannot go beyond that while in a human vehicle in any form, and while in the earth school. Once one moves on, there are 352 levels of initiation leading back to the Godhead. Okay, leading back to Source. And these levels can be thought of as planetary, monadic, I think, or galactic, universal, cosmic. There's various levels. I forget which level is which. Actually, I can look. Yeah, it's okay. It's planetary, solar, galactic, universal, multi-universal, and then cosmic. So all those levels will be taken after we complete our solar level initiations completely. One moves on to Arcturus generally and completes those initiations, and then on to Sirius and completes those initiations, etc. So after that, they move on to the Great Bear star system. But just dealing with the 7 initiations we will take here on Earth leading to our ascension. And what most people call ascension, first of all, is, well, it starts at the 6th initiation and ends at the 7th initiation. However, in the past, like Jesus and many of the great masters in the past, they almost all took what we call spiritual ascension. And what that means is they left their physical body at the 6th initiation, or when they were at 92% light quotient level, and then went on into their etheric vehicle to complete the remainder of their service and raising themselves to 99%, and then moving on to their cosmic initiations. But now, most of us will be taking physical ascension because we are anchoring this into the planet. We are raising the whole collective up together. So there is a push now for us to stay in body after 6th initiation and move into our crystal light body, which is a physical merger between the etheric body and the physical body, in the 4D body, basically, because that's really what we're in now. That's confusing, though. We're in the 3D experiential body, but we all moved into the 4th dimension after the harmonic convergence. So here are the 7 initiations and the corresponding light quotient level that must be stabilized within one in order to say one has truly taken and completed this initiation. Okay, so the first level of mastery is physical mastery. That's the first initiation. That means you have stabilized 35% into your vehicle. The second level is emotional and understand the first level of initiation, and I'll explain why it's a little bit confusing later, but the first level where they say physical mastery, that doesn't actually just correspond to physical mastery. as most third density people would think about it. Okay, like when they mean physical mastery, they mean you've conquered the lower drives, basically, at least the addictions to the body, you know, and you have dedicated your life to the spiritual over the material at this point, pretty firmly. That's the first initiation. The second initiation, where your light quotient is at 45%, is the level of emotional mastery, but this also corresponds to the level of beginning to have acceptance and unconditional love for all beings, starting to see the self in all other beings. This will be much more complete at the third level of initiation, which is the soul merge, where one is at 56% light quotient level. So this is where the soul anchors its intelligence into the body, and you don't become the soul completely, but the soul then is the guiding principle of the incarnation. No longer is the ego running the show. The ego may be still causing trouble, but no longer is the ego running show. This is the third initiation. The fourth initiation is attunement to the monad, and this is at 65% light quotient level. So by the fourth initiation, most people have purified the soul. The soul has been in charge enough at this point that they have purified enough of the lower drives out so that the monad itself can actually start expressing, and the body can start holding that much more light to allow the monad to express its will. And then at the fifth initiation is our monadic merge. So now the soul has been purified of, meaning, and when I say the soul, we could also call this the ego. We're talking about the body, which has, we're talking about the subconscious and the superconscious. We're talking about the body, which has carried all the drives forward, all the impressions from all the lives, everything that's been experienced in physical, in the emotional body, in the mental, that's been tied to the physical incarnations, has been stored in that level. So that has now been purified back to that which created it, the monad. Hi, baby.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That which created it, the monad, it's been purified back to its will and intent, and one begins to truly remember oneself as that. And at the monadic merge, that will has been anchored into the body. And that is at 75%. And then beginning of ascension is at the sixth initiation, or 83%. But remember, the sixth initiation is where most people, when we say they took Mahasamadhi and ascended, we're talking about the sixth initiation. But now we will be doing that on earth, and then moving up to completion of ascension, which is 92%. That's where you're an ascended master, and you're in your crystal light body, until you move to 99%, basically through service and purification. At that point, you leave the earth realm completely, and your ascension is complete. That's the end of the seventh initiation. But what I wanted to read also, this is from Master Joshua's book, Cosmic Ascension, Planetary Light Quotient Ascension Process. The next key principle we will focus on in understanding planetary versus cosmic ascension is the issue of light quotient. This is one of the key principles for both processes. To achieve planetary ascension, one must stabilize his or her light quotient between 80 to 83%. To take the beginning of the sixth initiation, at the seventh initiation, one must stabilize the 92% light quotient level. To complete the 7 levels of initiation, one must stabilize the 99% 90% light quotient level. The term stabilization is extremely important here. Many people by themselves, or more often in a group setting, have on occasion achieved a very high level meditation or light experience. The problem is that they are not able to hold the light. It quickly dissipates, and more often than not, they are not able to get that back or get back to that level for a long time. This brings up a very important question. How does one stabilize the light quotient? Most people fluctuate between as much as 3 or 4 light quotient points at any given time. This becomes even more complicated because they even fluctuate at different levels within their 5-body system. Their mental body might be at 90%, their emotional body at 84%, their physical body at 82%, their etheric body at 86%, and their spiritual body at 92%. This is why to achieve true self-realization, one must become a master on all levels. And then he goes on to talk about stabilization. There are different ways to stabilize. First, you build the light through meditation, by allowing the light in, by giving it space, right? In silence, we allow the ego to dissolve, get out of the way. This allows light to come in, which further dissolves the ego. So you sit there in silence, in the higher fields of energy as long as you can, every day, and that raises your light quotient. You can do that numerous times a day. And also you can visualize literally light coming in. You can also go out in the sun and actually allow the light in that way. That's one way of doing it. That's the masculine way of doing it. The feminine way of doing it is through love, because love gives space to light. So if you're loving in any way, if you're concentrating on the feeling of love, if you're experiencing the feeling of love, if you're sharing the feeling of love, if you're doing loving things or loving acts from true intention, and even if not, but as long as it's not a manipulative intention, but even if the intention isn't 100% altruistic, if it brings love into the world, it still will give space to light. So that allows light to come in. But the key there to notice was that because all the different bodies are at different levels in most people, because if we were being initiated in mystery schools, then it wouldn't be the case. They literally would break down one thing at a time. It still would be somewhat the case, because not everyone does everything at the same pace or rate. But in a mystery school, they would not teach you certain things until certain things were mastered. So this would make things much more clearly defined, and that's why these levels even exist from the mystery schools. But and also because at certain levels it allows certain spiritual and psychic developments to occur, which give access to different densities, dimensions, and helpers, guides, devas, ascended masters will notice that you have done that, so then it can be said in the etheric world and community that you have taken this initiation. You may not even know this, but the spiritual community, your guides and helpers, all know that you've taken this initiation, because now they can see you and transmit and communicate with you in a certain way. So that can be said to be a real thing. I know I've taken certain of these initiations, but also, like Master Joshua has said in other books and other parts, just because you've taken this initiation, because again, we're not taking it in a mystery school, most of us, we're not being guided in a clear way at the conscious level all the time. So we have a lot more confusions, through the whole process, and we will take them simultaneously, and we may, even though we've taken the initiation, doesn't mean we've mastered it. So we may be aware we've taken initiation, doesn't mean the issues cleared leading up to that initiation will never surface in any kind of way again. It doesn't mean you've mastered the principles involved completely. And that can be confusing if one believes that the taking of this initiation has eliminated certain things completely because it hasn't eliminated them from all the bodies. So